$881 million. That is how much money one of the world's biggest banks laundered for the Sinaloa cartel. For reference, that is roughly what most countries spend on their entire military every month. Except this was not a government, this was a bank. A real public household name bank. The fine they paid for it? $1.9 billion. Sounds harsh, right? 5 weeks of bank revenue. How many bank executives went to prison? 0. Not one. Today, how the world's biggest banks became the legal laundromat for the most violent drug cartels on Earth, and why every single one of them got away with it. Welcome back to Berloga. Today we are going forensic. Real banks, real billions, real cartel money, and one whistleblower who tried to stop it and almost lost everything trying. If you have ever wondered why the rich never seem to go to jail, by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how the system works, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The year is 2005. Wachovia is the 4th largest bank in the United States. A new compliance officer joins the bank. His name is Martin Woods, former Scotland Yard, anti-money laundering specialist, the kind of guy you hire when you actually want to stop financial crime. Within a few weeks, Martin notices something strange. Mexican currency exchange houses, called casas de cambio, are wiring billions of dollars through Wachovia. Not millions, billions. He pulls the transaction records. The numbers do not match anything legal. Some single deposits are over $30,000 in cash. Some accounts move more than $10 million a week. The money is being flown into the United States on chartered jets, often from cities controlled by the Sinaloa cartel. Martin starts filing internal warning reports. Hundreds of them. Hundreds. His bosses ignore him. Worse, they punish him. They take away his cases. They threaten him. They tell him to stop asking questions. In 2007, US authorities seize a private jet flying from Mexico to America. Inside the jet, 5.7 tons of cocaine. The jet was paid for through accounts at Wachovia, Martin's accounts, the ones he had been flagging for 2 years. By 2010, the full number becomes public. $378 billion passed through Wachovia from Mexican casas de cambio. $378 billion. That is more than the annual GDP of Hong Kong. What happened to Wachovia? They paid a fine of $160 million. They merged with Wells Fargo. Nobody went to jail. Martin Woods, the man who tried to stop it, was harassed, marginalized, and eventually pushed out of the bank. He won a wrongful treatment settlement. The bankers who ran the laundering operation kept their jobs and their bonuses. If you think Wachovia was the exception, you have not seen anything yet. The next bank made Wachovia look like amateurs. HSBC, the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation, one of the largest banks on the planet. For roughly 5 years, between 2006 and 2010, HSBC's Mexico branches accepted billions of dollars in cash deposits from Mexican drug cartels. How much cash? Let me give you the visual. Cartel members would drive up to HSBC branches in Mexico carrying suitcases stuffed with cash. So much cash that the cartels designed special deposit boxes, built to the exact dimensions of HSBC's teller windows so the cash could be passed through the slot faster. I am not exaggerating. They had custom-sized boxes. The bank's teller windows had a custom-tailored solution for receiving illegal cartel cash by the truckload. Sinaloa cartel alone deposited around $881 million in laundered funds through HSBC. When US investigators dug into the bank's structure, they found something even more bizarre. HSBC had a branch in the Cayman Islands. This branch held over 50,000 accounts. The combined balance? Over $2 billion. The number of full-time employees at this branch? One single person managing $2 billion across 50,000 accounts. That was not a bank branch. That was a shell, a laundering machine in the Caribbean. HSBC also processed wire transfers for countries under American sanctions: Iran, Sudan, North Korea, Cuba, Libya. They did this by stripping the country names off the wire transfer paperwork on industrial scale for years. In 2012, the US Department of Justice announced the result. HSBC would pay a fine of $1.92 billion, the largest bank fine in history at that time. Sounds harsh until you do the math. HSBC's annual revenue at the time, $22 billion. The fine was about 5 weeks of revenue. The bank's stock price actually went up the day the fine was announced. Wall Street understood. This was a slap on the wrist. Number of executives prosecuted? 0. Number of executives sent to prison? 0. Number of executives who lost their bonuses? 0. Then Attorney General Eric Holder testified before the United States Senate. He admitted openly on the public record that some banks are simply too large to prosecute. Quote, "It does become difficult for us to prosecute them when we are hit with indications that if you do prosecute, if you do bring a criminal charge, it will have a negative impact on the national economy, perhaps even the world economy." Translation: if a bank is too big, putting its executives in prison might destabilize the financial system, so we will fine them instead, and let them keep operating, and let them keep their executives. This became known as the too big to jail doctrine, a real phrase used by real prosecutors about real institutions. So how does this actually work? How does a bank launder billions in cartel money? The cartel has a problem. Drugs sell for cash, mountains of cash. But cash is hard to spend. You cannot buy a yacht or a luxury condo with 2 suitcases of $20 bills. The cartel needs to convert that paper into bank money, clean, traceable, spendable digital currency. This conversion is called laundering. It has 3 classic stages. Stage 1, placement, getting the cash into the financial system. The cartel splits the money into thousands of small deposits, called structuring or smurfing. Each individual deposit stays under the legal reporting threshold of $10,000. Tens of thousands of these small deposits get pushed across hundreds of bank accounts. Stage 2, layering, moving the money through complex transactions to hide its origin. International wire transfers, currency exchanges, casas de cambio, shell companies registered in offshore tax havens. Each layer makes the original source harder to trace. Stage 3, integration. The now clean money returns to the cartel through real estate purchases, luxury businesses, legitimate-looking investment funds. By the time it lands, it looks exactly like ordinary profit. For this entire pipeline to work, the cartel needs one critical thing: a bank that does not ask questions. This is exactly what HSBC, Wachovia, Standard Chartered, Deutsche Bank, and many others provided, either through gross negligence or by deliberate design. The investigations are public, the numbers are public, the math is not in dispute. So why does this continue? Reason 1, the math. The fine is always smaller than the profit. A bank earns hundreds of millions in fees and float from laundered transactions. The fine is a fraction of that. Even with maximum penalties, laundering remains profitable. Reason 2, deferred prosecution agreements. Instead of going to trial, prosecutors offer the bank a deal. The bank pays a fine, promises to clean up, hires an outside monitor. After 3 years of good behavior, the case is closed. No conviction, no criminal record, no precedent. Banks have signed dozens of deferred prosecution agreements. Many of them the same banks, same pattern, same outcome. Reason 3, political reality. Major banks are major political donors. They lobby aggressively, they hire former prosecutors, they donate to both parties. Building a criminal case against them is career suicide for an ambitious prosecutor. So the system continues. The cartels launder, the banks profit, the fines are paid, the executives keep their bonuses. The cycle repeats. The next time someone tells you that the war on drugs is being fought in Mexico, in Colombia, in Afghanistan, show them this video. The war on drugs is being fought in low-income neighborhoods against street-level dealers with maximum-length sentences. Meanwhile, the largest single enabler of the global drug economy is sitting in glass office towers in London, New York, and Geneva, with marble lobbies, with private jets, with 0 people in jail. The cartels are not the smartest criminals on earth. They are just the most exposed ones. The real laundry is in the bank. In the next video, we will look at why your country's central bank quietly prints money to bail out these same institutions every single time they break. Take off the rose-colored glasses. Subscribe. I am going back into hibernation.